Good to have all of you here again. Some new faces and some old, just is always great to see. We've got Kristin Engineer here with us today, which we're very excited about. Um, Kind of popped right into our schedule last minute this week, or the end of last week, so that was really great. Very grateful for that. I just wanted to do a little introduction for Pandion, as we usually do, just for those who aren't familiar and for anyone who's catching the replay after who might not be familiar with this platform yet. Um, so, Pandion Music Foundation, we're a pretty new organization, a 501c3 nonprofit, just started running these workshops in October of 2022. And we're really excited about the offerings we have right now. We're able to do this all for free since we're a nonprofit, so we just run off of funding. So we're really appreciative of anyone who donates and has the means to do that. And our mission is really to just create a safe space, an inclusive space for emerging artists who might not have the means or be in underrepresented demographics, who might not otherwise have access to educational resources in the music industry. So we're trying to create more opportunities in that way, since the entertainment industry and the music industry often are really centered around just making profit. And so we're trying to kind of shift the needle in that way a little bit. Yeah, so we run these workshops every week with different mentors that are featured and who join us to talk about their areas of the industry and their expertise, which is really cool, and share resources for people who might be interested. And then we also run events, which we've started. We ran an event with 2Indie a couple weeks ago, which Kristin was actually involved with. So that was really great. And we'll hopefully be doing more like that. And that event actually might turn into an annual one. So that's exciting. Yeah, and that's pretty much the gist. And Kristin, I'm just going to give a little background on, and then Kristin, you can fill in if you want to. But Kristin Engineer, Moto Girl, aka, is a music maker in motion, a top liner, songwriter, and executive producer who does custom work for artists and industry, specializing in dance pop, indie pop, and electro pop. Her company, Moto Girl Music LLC, is a collaborative word, garage, and beats foundry, creating kinetic original songs for advertising, TV, and film. Recent placements include Sex Life of College Girls on HBO Max and Boo Bitch on Netflix. And Moto Girl Music is an inclusive space for LGBTQ plus, non-binary, and BIPOC creators. So yeah, we're really excited to hear what you have today and the resources and advice and input you can share. So thanks for being here, Kristin.
Thank you. Well, I just want to thank Pandion, first of all, for having me. And I just want to welcome everybody here. Really about this workshop is about the sound of being seen and being, making sure every artist in the room has a voice. So I do want to just add a few more things onto that bio. Thank you so much for that, Jordan. All of that was great. Beyond the pop production house that we have, which is very inclusive and a safe space for everyone to create, I also have an education arm, and I'm consulting for artists, creative businesses, and I'm a speaker for events. And then I've been an artist manager had the pleasure to be the artist manager of Nadia Vea and help her on her journey in the music industry. So that's been a cool addition. Not that I'm an artist management company, but that's been an amazing journey with her. And then I've been a music educator for almost over 20 years in schools, events, working with children from 4 to 14, just helping them find their inner musician and find their inner voice. I'm also a working artist myself for over 25 years, but was in multiple bands, recorded a lot of music, excuse me, and just found my way into the sync industry about the last 3 years, and I'm enjoying a career there now. So I'll be sharing some of that with you today. I'm also classically trained. I'm an oboist and a motorcycle enthusiast. So that's Moto Girl Music. I just decided to combine both things I love so much, which is writing dance pop and motorcycles.
Cool.
So yeah, so this, did you want to say something, Jordan? Sorry.
Actually, I would love to just introduce Rebecca and Carly are here too
Oh, of
from
course.
Pandion. So if you guys wanted to just do a little
Hi.
wave or say
So
hi.
yes, Kristin. So I've hung out with you, and we've had a lot of fun together. We started. I met you here at Earthstar, and it was just really great to get to know you. And since then, I've seen you already quite like 5 times, and hung out with you. And I'm just really grateful for you jumping in today, and also for helping us with our syncathon. And just it's incredible hearing your story. So I'm really excited for all of you to hear it, and just to, get Motor Girl's vibe. She has so much to offer. You have so much to offer. So welcome, welcome. Thank you for being with us today.
Yeah, of course. Thank you so much. Yeah, go ahead.
And then Carl's, yeah.
Hi, I'm Carl. I don't know if you can see me because in my view, I'm in the small grid view, but I am so excited to hear what you have to say. I was reading your bio earlier and can't wait to learn.
So great to meet you, Carl.
Great. Thanks, Carls. Cool. Yeah, you're welcome to just dive right in, Kristin.
Okay. Yeah, thank you, guys. I mean, it's been amazing just to meet some strong women in the music industry, and I'm super happy to be here. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. I do have a bit of a presentation. I'm just going to use it as a guideline. And really what we're going to be talking about is navigating safe space in the music industry. I'm going to go ahead and do a presenter version so I can tell how long I'm taking here. So yeah, let's go ahead and do the next one. That's me. You've already seen me. All right. So one of the biggest things that we are working with in just garnering safe space, I thought of 3 things we could kind of talk about, or that I could talk about, and then we could share some things at the end. But it's confidence, communication, and community. When you're coming in with confidence into a space, you're already setting a tone, no matter what you identify as, whether you have, you feel like you have an age barrier, or you have an identity barrier of any sort. It's just garnering that confidence. We're going to do a deep dive in confidence and what I mean by that. The other thing is communication, knowing how to communicate in a positive, constructive way, helping others in the room do that. And also kind of navigating, different communication styles, because everyone communicates different. Sometimes it's a nonverbal communication that you're dealing with and you're not even sure. So, and then also community, who you surround yourself with, and what your team looks like, what your collaborators look like. Are they a good fit for you? So we're going to talk about all those things, because that is what helps to create a safe space. There's lots of other things that we will talk about too, which is one of the things is social perceptions. And sometimes social perceptions can really get in the way of feeling safe in a space, however you're feeling, whatever identity you have, if it's she, her, if it's lesbian, bisexual, if it's, BIPOC, whatever it is that your identity you're carrying into the room, and people have a perception already of what that is, or a woman coming in as a producer, what that identity also speaks to. So we're going to start with confidence. I love this picture. This is Nadia Vea. She is the artist that I was managing this last year. And on the side, on the left, 2 pictures. And she really, what I feel like I gave her throughout this experience were the building blocks for being a confident artist. She's amazing, very talented, very, very hardworking. And she just needed a little boost in confidence at some level. And that was kind of the main piece. And so you could see through her photos how confident she is. Let's see if I can get to the next one. So really important is taking care of your mental health. When to feel confident, you want to take care of you first. And our emotions can be so up and down as artists, and that's such a gift and a struggle. And, at that, when you're feeling insecure at a situation, know when to reschedule a collab. You might need to do that, or take time for self-care. And before you enter the room, I think making sure that you feel like you're ready to enter that space. Because much what happens between interpersonal interactions can be like explained by just our emotional state that we're in. And so, you have your emotional state, and the people in the room have their emotional state, and triggers and traumas and past things that, how we are in a room and we're trying to communicate. We've got all of this stuff also with us. So it's important to take care of that mental health and watch your exhaustion cycles. And managing your time really carefully to give yourself breaks and vacations. I think, especially me as a business owner, I wake up every morning and think, I got to work all day. I got to work all day the next day. I got to work all day the next day. And it's been a real challenge for me to balance my time between, I got to work, but then I've got to take breaks because my brain isn't really working at that optimal level. So that part of mental health, I think, is a really important piece before you even walk into that room. Managing our imposter syndrome. Everyone kind of has it at some point where you know who you are. Just if you can know who you are as an artist and be assured that, you are bringing your best self to the table. The things that can help you with making sure you feel like you're the best, you're bringing the best things to the table are, really establishing an image, a brand, making sure you know what genre you're in, a style. A lot of this comes from sync as well, because in sync, you really do need to have a certain genre to compare yourself to, so that you have, you're able to present as a pop artist or anything like that. Of course, in sync, artists are involved in all levels in sync. So it's not just person who writes for sync. I do that, actually. I write art for sync, but there are people who are just artists who are creating art, and they are able to do that for sync. But this helps managing your imposter syndrome. That part helps. Garnering performance tips, you can be your most confident, either on stage, in the room, when you're recording with each other. Performance also is just mostly a stage-oriented thing. And then remember that the audience is there for you to give your gift of music. It's a gift that you have, and to be able to remember that the audience and your fans are there to love you. I'm kind of talking both about artists on all kinds of levels. So I'm just going back and forth on that. All right, let's see. Also in confidence, honing your craft, making sure that you are bringing your best self to the table, and frequently collaborating with different kinds of people, and regularly writing and producing, so that you get an understanding of the communication styles that everyone has. And sometimes you'll want to work with them again, sometimes you won't, but you'll start to garner like, how do people communicate? How do people work on projects, so that I can offer in the room a little safer space for them as well, if they speak a certain way or if I speak a certain way. Getting feedback from others besides your family and friends on your work, so that you can really find the colleagues that you respect, so they can give you constructive comments and to changes that you might need to be made. Because everybody has room for improvement, in a phrase and a melody. Constantly listening to references if you're writing art for sync, or for those who are creating art for art's sake, really listening to artists and producers you admire just honing every part of your craft, whatever that means for you. Sometimes it's okay to get professional assistance on songwriting or on production, or, you know, many of us have taken courses like I have a songwriting mentor that I frequently tap in with, and I did for a good 2 years of writing dance pop because it was something new that I had done. So I wasn't really sure how to do it. So seeking professional help is always there because everyone has room for improvement. And I love being in music because you can always learn something new. There's always something wonderful to gather there. And the last thing in confidence is act as if and you are. I love this because, you know, when you walk into a room, it doesn't mean you have an ego that's going out the roof. It just means when you walk in a room, and even if you're not quite at the top yet of your game, you know, you're going to be, or you're headed there. And I do this a lot where I manifest where I want to be. I talk about manifesting, and that's more like writing down and imagining where I want to be and where I'm headed, and not where I don't want to be or where I don't think I could do. It's about just really blowing that off the roof, that those ambitions and dreams, like you really can reach them, because we have to think as if, and you are, just come into the room with confidence. So I learned something really important from a good friend of mine, and he said, these are your peers. And anytime you walk into a room, you are an equal. It doesn't matter no matter your age, your experience, your identity, your platinum wall hangings, or who you know, or the artists that you worked with, if you come into the room as an equal, and your heart, you know, you're an equal to all of these people in the room, then that's also going to get you really far in communicating a safe space, because you're already confident, you're already coming in. I like saying, comparing ourselves to prisms, because, you know, if you look at all the prisms, all the colors in a prism, and you relate your own set of unique experiences as a human being on this planet, like we are full of experiences, there's a lot that goes on. The traumas, the beautiful, all of it that goes on creates this person that you are today. And it's actually wonderful. I actually don't resent anything that's ever happened to me in my past, because I feel like it's made me who I am today. And I'm able to really act upon this, act as if, and you are. So yeah, I just wanted to use a real life example of confidence building with an artist. And it kind of spoke a little bit about it with the artist that I worked with. It just really is such an important piece of how we feel as an artist. If you can have all the pieces, you can have the hustle, you can have the songwriting, you can be talented, you can, all of these things, all of those pieces. But if your confidence isn't where it needs to be, and then it's going to be harder to show up into a space and feel safe. So I just felt like that was a really important concept to talk about. We're going to move into communication. Sort of towards the end, I wanted to open up the room as well to people who've had experiences. So think about too, maybe some experiences you've had in a room as we're going along, where you felt safe and there's a great communication, and what that looked like. Or alternatively, you didn't feel safe and there was a situation that happened and a conflict, and how you dealt with it. I'd really love to hear from you all in a little bit. So communication. All right. Okay, listening. That's the biggest part of communication. I feel like listening is a hard skill for many people, and especially if you're in a room with people who have an ego or have an issue that they want to be heard so much that they can't hear someone else. But that's okay. I've been in those situations and I just listen. I listen and then I reflect back to them what they've said. If they don't get to me and ask me about myself, it's all right. Because you know what? Second time I meet them, we'll probably get there. Or the third time, because I know I'll meet these people at certain times, right? I'm talking about networking in some ways. When you meet somebody and you could let them talk about themselves, sometimes that's a great way to let them feel seen and heard. But listening is huge. So really in a collaborative environment, when you are together, you want to really listen to one another, give each other time to speak. The sound of being heard is really called silence. And then you can reflect back what they said and give constructive feedback when wanted or needed. But this is really a very, very important part of communication. The other part is constructive language and conflict resolution techniques. This is something I did a lot when teaching children. You always want to be very careful in how you speak, especially when someone is presenting a piece of music to you. There's no, it's so subjective how we feel about music in general. And so you always want to kind of approach, if there's a conflict, I'm going to say, when this happened, the situation, I felt, and then it really kind of opens up the door for not accusing the other person, but just, this is a thing that happened and I felt this way. How do we resolve that together? And it really takes that accusatory angle off there. But yeah, even with children, you always had to like read them, their nonverbal communication. And it happens with adults. I mean, the experience I've had with kids is like priceless because they often don't really understand how to communicate their emotions until you help them with that language. But with adults, it's even somewhat similar. Sometimes you'll get a lot of nonverbal communication, like what is going on right now, and you have to figure it out, and then maybe work through that piece. So, all right, and then when giving constructive criticism about a piece of art, it's a good idea to sandwich the hard thing right in between with all the good positive things on the side. So like if you have, for instance, somebody did a phrase that you thought, ooh, this could be a little bit better. You could always say, wow, I love the way you sang everything. This part just needs to be changed a little bit, maybe the concept, and then go back into, and wow, your dynamic expression was so wonderful there. Something like that. So it kind of helps you feel like, all right, I get what I need to change, but I'm glad that you could see that good part about it. So let's see, next one. So, this is kind of an interesting one with feeling good about taking a space in a room. I was thinking more like when you're in a studio, right? And you've got your producer, there might be some musicians in the room. Now we're doing lots of stuff remotely, but I was kind of imagining this like producer, musician, vocalist, all different kinds of identities. The producer could be a woman, all of these kinds of things. But understanding the terms of technology is kind of important when you're sitting in a room together and you need to express, I'm the vocalist. I just sang this back and I'm hearing it back. And now I'm like, we're in the mix and I'm like, oh, you know what? The pitch is a little off there, or could you move this so that it all aligns? At least you can have the terminology and the language. You don't need to have technical language. You just need kind of the emotional language of music, or a musical language, which most of us do. But knowing some of those terms of technology will help you feel better in the room. I always include business of music because I feel like it's so important just to, you don't really get a contract with each other or you don't have some sort of agreements, that can feel really unsafe at some point, because you want to make sure you're making decisions for yourself and your financial health as well. So because I work in the world of sync licensing. Oh, I totally forgot to say this. I work with Rare Form Audio as a sync licensing creative director. So that's also something to do. But that when you're working in that world, you need to have agreements with all of the co-writers and all of the collaborators. So you want to make sure that it's very clear, so that when you get to a point where, hey, we can pitch this song for an ad, that's $50,000. You've got a really clear agreement to help yourselves feel safe in that space. And I include other things that looks, you can read through that, but like copywriting and things that you can do. Okay, one of the last things here on communication is, let's see. This is a really important one. Be thoughtful of social perceptions. We really just have this social fabric that has been created over time, and it's no one's individual faults that it's been created, but it just has been. There's just a lot of disparaging thoughts, I think, and sometimes we really have no idea we're perpetuating them. I mean, I've done it myself, just on. I'll give an example where my first concert that I ever held at this really big private school. It was a great job. It was an amazing job. I had it for 7 years. And the first concert I did, I was like, I'm going to go all out on this concert. I hired musicians, professional musicians to accompany. I did all this work. But when I was working with the children, I decided I would take this book. And it was like this little girl going around the world and, experiencing different things in these different places. And in my heart, I was feeling good that I was including all this diversity, that there's all these, like, there could be represented songs from all over, but it really raised an uproar at the school. And it was because you had to be really careful about how certain cultures were presented and I knew that, but then it was good. It was a lesson for me to know that, hey, you just have to be aware of these things. And I was so open to changing whatever we needed to do. But I learned a big lesson. And I always, I think that we do have a lot of perceptions, but regardless of beliefs or views, we need to that we hold about different ideas. We just really need to come into the room really in that equal place of these are our peers, and try not to have a perception. Like, for example, when a woman walks into the room, do you immediately think she's the producer? Or a BIPOC creator, what kind of perception do you have of them? Or even, any identity you can think of, like, what is your perception? And really kind of check those perceptions so that you can have a good equal space. And no one's perfect. So we're all learning and we're all working through it. So, all right, last one is community. All right, feeling safe in the room is about also surrounding yourself with support. If you're an artist who is at that stage in their career where they are wanting a manager, booking agent, tour manager, that type of thing, you want to make sure those people really, really believe in you, have got your back. Just have a professional relationship with you. That's very important. The collaborative teams that you create, the songwriters and producers and musicians, maybe other business owners that you collaborate with, you want to make sure that you end up having a similar vision. I mean, I've collaborated with people that we only collaborated once because our vision just kind of didn't mix. But I learned a lot from their communication style. I learned a lot from their the way that they created music, even how they created music. And so you learn something from every experience that you have. But surrounding yourself with supportive people. I That includes friends, family, chosen family. Not all of us are super tight with their families, so it's important to have chosen family as well. Networking is, I think, building that community of in the industry is so important. Like, join organizations in your field and go to all in-person and online presentations as much as you can. That helps you to be seen in the community and in your industry. Joining these kind of panels and meetings, like Pandion has a lot of really cool experiences with music supervisors, and lots of other organizations as well, but licensing agencies and other artists. I mean, the more you show up in the room, the more people are going to be like, what is this person doing? Right? Who is this person? It's kind of like I did that recently in a really cool event, and I had an amazing composer connect with me later. She's like, I've always wanted to meet you, Motor Girl. And I'm like, okay, like, where's this come from? Never, I kind of like interacted on Facebook a little bit, but that's the perception you're getting. And also from networking, you are just showing up everywhere. So people are like, who is this? I would recommend going to other artist concerts and events, supporting each other. I go to a lot of events here in LA, just, new artists that are coming out, all just being available for each other. And that will often get you in other rooms too, when you are just showing up. And then it is kind of who you know. It's a people business. So as much as you can, just to sometimes it's hard. Sometimes we don't feel like being really social. I have like, I'm an extroverted introvert. That's how I identify, and one of my identities is an extroverted introvert. And there are times I just don't feel like going out, and I do honor that in myself. That's my mental health, giving myself that mental health space, and not being out all the time. It's totally fine. And then follow up when you meet someone. So important, just to say thank you or hi. It doesn't mean you need to present everything that you have to them. You just say, so great to meet you. This has gotten me into so many great collaborations or like business deals, when I just say, it was so great to see you at the XYZ event. I hope to see you soon. Or say something nice about what maybe they won an award. It was, it was fabulous to see you on stage winning this award, and I hope to see you soon. That's it. I've gotten responses back for those kinds of things, because you're seeing them and you're hearing them. So, so this is kind of one that's, connecting with licensing organizations that love, if you want to get into sync, or if you I don't know our audience right now, if you're all in the sync world, or if you're more just from artist perspective. So I'm just going to take it from everywhere here. But this is a great way to diversify your income as an artist, is to present your music for sync licensing, for TV, film, ads, trailers sometimes, and connecting with a licensing organization that loves your music and believes what you do. You're going to get more exposure that way. It doesn't mean that you should always be showing up everywhere in front of music supervisors, everything, but like libraries and agencies sometimes can get your music to more people. That's all. And for definitely, you should be showing up to any Zoom sessions with music supervisors, because they're seeing you again and again. And it's not unheard of where music supervisors take your music right at that moment. I think it happened at the Syncathon. I'm not so sure, but I think it did. So, open yourself up to making connections within the community in all these different ways will just create even more, even more space, feeling like you can take up that space in the room. So a safe space. If somebody would like to share about a situation. I just wanted to open that space up. I didn't know if that was a possibility, Jordan.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
That would be wonderful.
Okay.
I
Let
can,
me,
if you
yeah.
want just like one person at a time, we can have people just like raise their virtual hand on here and
Yeah, I think what I'll
unmute
do
them.
is I'll set it up and then we can have them,
Sure.
with the emoticon hand. But yeah,
Great.
so basically you can share a situation where you felt seen and heard in a room with artists of different identities, if you'd like, and or share a situation when you didn't feel seen or heard and what your response was. And I want to make sure that to create safe space, we are coming from all different places. So let's try to use inclusive language and try to refrain from using accusatory language, like they did this to me or they did that. It's just the situation and how did you and you can say what was triggering. You don't have to be like, totally devoid of emotion, but you can also just be acknowledging that we have lots of different identities in the room and how we want to make people feel safe here. So, all right, let's go. And I'll if you want reflection or feedback on maybe how we could, if the situation didn't end how you wanted it to, like if you wanted some feedback on some ideas for how to deal with that if it comes up again, then I'd love to offer it. Otherwise, we can just hear you.
Great.
All right.
All right, Ingrid, I saw your hand up first there. Let's see if this works.
Hi. Hi.
Hi.
Hi.
How are
Hi.
you?
How may I address you? Are you Motor Girl, Kristin, or Queen of Confidence?
I love it. You can address me
Like
however
all-
you want. You can say whatever you feel comfortable.
Okay, I'll just say Queen because we're probably in a really good room for that. This is such a great day for me to meet you face to face. My situation was the the Earth Star. Oh my gosh, I can't even.
Okay.
It was an Earth Star. I passed you and you stood out. You said something about like, when someone enters the room and they, the most beautiful or something. And you were engaged with, I believe, the photo shoot. To the point, the situation was what worked was we were gathered with so many different backgrounds in this room, including Canadians. I love you, my Canadians. But beforehand, I was able to connect personally with several of the people that I knew would be there. And where my backdrop is, where I come from is really love one-on-one situations, love maybe up to 10 folks with interactions. And I knew this was going to be a stretch. So Monday night we were having the meet and greet, big room full of people, almost shoulders, couldn't even pass each other. And there was the feeling of being terrified, as in, I'm not sure that my person is going to take the right shape or space in this room. But I knew enough to know that one handshake at a time, that one familiar person at a time, that same thing when I perform live. I'm sorry that I should have started with, I'm a performing artist in Alabama. Often if I see that one person that I know, I can't fail. If I were to fall off of my stool, sing a horrible note, that person would be grinning and clapping for me. And I felt that there was a little bit of that setting up ahead of time where I knew, and why I came was because I knew that I would be received in some capacity. And I'm actually really glad that you're on this call, because I might have been a little intimidated to just walk up to you and interrupt something, and I'm sure it would have been fine. You did wonderful. Like, it was so wonderful for you to be there, and I was just very receptive to the things. But it's really nice to catch you on this day when I'm home, kind of on my porch in my safe space, and I'm just feeling probably like my most open and vulnerable. Also, I will shout out to Rebecca and Pandion and you girls, as you know that this is the highlight of my week every week. That this particular week, again, is now the best week, now the best call we've had yet. And furthermore, when my 18-year-old who has autism and we're graduating in 2 weeks from high school, no plan, recently has just now said, I really think I might like to pick up the baton and be involved in something like this. And so the first thing they saw when they walked out to the porch on my phone, mommy's on a Zoom call, was mental health, and then the screen of act as if. And these are the topics we have all of the time. So I would say this is a success that I wanted to share,
You make
all
me
because
cry.
of your entire life, every step that has brought us here together today, all of us. So grateful. Tiny little bit emotional, lots of transition time, but I'm just very, very grateful that I got to meet you on this platform, that you made time for us, and the bombs that are going off in my mind from every word that you said, the sound of being heard, the phrasing, like all of those things. And I am still looking to be in the perfect environment. I've found a lot of safe places here, especially in this group. If I look to the right here, so many friends over here. I love you guys. I think that's my 5 minutes.
Thank you, Ingrid. Thank you so much. I just want to say thank you for sharing all of that. I don't think we need too much reflection or feedback. That's really brilliant. Thank you.
Thanks, Ingrid. That was beautiful, beautiful share. Is there anyone else who'd like to share?
Cara.
Yeah, we'll
Cara.
take
Oh,
one
great.
more.
Hi there.
Hi.
I'm going to piggyback off of some of Ingrid's statements here, which are that I have just been absolutely loving this community, the two indies community, and many spinoffs of those. It has just been such a welcome thing. Ingrid, I knew I was going to message you and say like, hey, I'm going to tear up too. Yeah, just the positivity, a truly amazing learning environment. I'm an educator myself. I'm trained in that. I've been a teacher for 25 years. So I structure my own education programs very similarly to this stuff. And it has just been so lovely for me to get to be a student in this environment, which is something I certainly did not have growing up. And so it's just been so fun to get to just let down and truly feel safe and supported and not be afraid to ask questions and, just kind of totally redo what education has meant for me as a learner, even though I knew not to take that stuff on. It's just, you can learn so much faster in an environment where, there's just such lovely people. So thank you, everybody. And I am going to be writing with Miss Ingrid next week on her porch in Alabama, which was a great find from the last Sinkabaloo event. So, yeah. So thank you to all for everything that you put into this. Yeah.
Wow. Thank you, Kara. I don't know if Jordan it's just so great to have you guys share. I really, really appreciate
Yeah, thank you so much. This is so
the
wonderful.
emotion even too. Thank you so
I'm
much for
getting
sharing.
so teary over here. I'm really trying to hold it back right now.
I'm definitely going to cry after this call, by the way. So.
Absolutely. I was just thinking that. I was like, oh God, I'm
Yep.
gonna have to
Yeah, it's just a few weeks ago, and I got to have all three of you in the same space, and it was just so incredible, including, I think we have another person here, Janet was here, and yeah, we had it was quite a group for that night, and then there's a lot happening, and Ingrid and Kara, you showed up for those 3 days, and you just brought everything. You brought yourself, you brought your beautiful vibe, you showed up with and you just honored yourself for that, and you're showing up today, so honoring yourself here today as well.
Yeah. Thank you so much. This has been just like the best space today. So special.
Well, I'm so glad that everyone got something from it. You know, sometimes when you're preparing for a workshop, you're like, what can I say? And what's going to really resonate with people? And this has been something that has been so important in my business and in my life, really, with my work with children, my work with everyone. I feel like people often don't feel seen and heard. And it could be because of your identity, or it could just be because you just don't feel that way. So I think it's, you know, there's a lot here that we can all learn from each other. So yeah, thank you so much for having me. I am going to put in my, I have a little media kit. If anyone wants any consulting or wants to work with me in some way, then I'll just put that in there. If you just want to chat, I'm always available. So for free. So, you know, that's always something, but it's great to connect with you all. And I just hope to stay connected. So.
Thank you. So wonderful. And Kristin, you were good with the AMAs, is that right? I just wanted to double
Yeah,
check
that's
before.
correct. Yeah,
Okay, great.
exactly.
So I'll
Yeah.
start, we'll start a little thread on our Facebook Creators Circle, and
Okay.
Kristin will be available for any follow-up questions or anything you want to connect about on that thread just for 48 hours after this call. So yeah, and I can share, thanks for dropping that in, Kristin. I'll also
But it
put
was,
that on the post on Facebook as
I'm gonna
well.
try to make sure it was the right thing. It was the right thing, right? Yeah. Okay.
Right, and so we'll definitely share everything with our community, and
Sure.
we'll have a replay of today's.
Yeah.
Are we gonna do the replay?
Yeah, we'll do the replay for sure. Definitely.
Great. And so if you want to rewatch it, I might want to
Yeah.
watch it.
Yeah.
And
Definitely.
and also too, we are the community for you. We are here for you. You are safe here. And you know, if you want to reach out to me directly, you can DM me, and I'm ready to, you know, hear what you have to say or be there for you. So know that we are here for you. Pandion.
Yes, 100%.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for being here today. So special. Yeah, let's connect on Facebook. Keep the conversation going. If you haven't joined our Facebook Creators Circle yet, I'm gonna just get that up really quick and put it in the chat if I can, if my computer loads quickly enough. Here we go. Okay, hopefully this works. Great. For anyone who needs that, that's there. Thank you again, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Kristin.
Monroe.
Bye.
See
Great
ya.
day, everyone.
Thanks.